Hello everyone, this is Kaiju Studios Shitsuke and I'm back with more Jurassic Park related content for today's video. It's been heavily debated in the Jurassic Park fan community which is the best and worst sequel of the franchise, as almost everyone can agree that the 1993 original Jurassic Park, directed by Steven Spielberg, is the best Jurassic Park movie and the only movie in the franchise that can rightfully be considered a cinema classic. Its sequels, however, are always looked upon as inferior, unnecessary follow-ups that try too hard to recapture the magic of the Spielberg classic, and I agree to some extent. Some sequels are disappointing and feel like wasted potential, while some sequels are enjoyable but do leave a lot to be desired. However, there is one sequel that in my opinion is not only a solid, well-made and entertaining Dino-flick, but is the objectively best sequel of the franchise, that being The Lost World Jurassic Park. After watching this movie last week, I can safely say that this movie is very underappreciated. I don't think it deserves to be hated on, and my opinions on the film have changed over time, from outright disliking it to appreciating it. While the film is definitely not without its faults, it does at least succeed in trying to continue the story and themes of the first film while providing us with the entertaining dino carnage we come to expect from a sequel to Jurassic Park. Here are 5 reasons why The Lost World Jurassic Park is the best Jurassic Park sequel. Number 5. Its unique tone, atmosphere, and soundtrack. What makes this movie stand out from the other sequels is the fact that not only did Steven Spielberg return to direct, the sequel has its own unique tone and atmosphere that distinguishes it from the first film. Isla Sorna truly feels like an island populated by dinosaurs, and an island where there's more danger, a jungle everywhere, remnants of old buildings after a hurricane wiped it out, and dinosaurs wandering wherever they want. This is a completely different island from Isla Nublar. This forces the human characters of opposing teams to get together to survive following the destruction of their vehicles and communication equipment, creating a sense of urgency and a sense of isolation, as the humans have to get out of the island with little weapons and no vehicles. However, things go horribly wrong, even when banding together. The Lost World has a noticeably darker tone than its predecessor, containing a lot more gruesome deaths, such as Eddie Carr being ripped apart by the T-Rexes. Due to Stark meets an unfortunate demise by the compies after he sadistically tortured them earlier, though frankly he got what he deserved. You have characters getting stomped on and characters getting eaten, etc. The sequel doesn't disappoint in the death department, though thankfully it never gets too violent or gory for its own good. Apart from the violence, you also have characters with opposing ideologies or agendas who clash as they try to deal with the presence of a new dinosaur island, which sorta makes The Lost World Jurassic Park an environmentalist film. It makes the movie feel larger in scale and with more complexity, which makes it different from the first film's simplistic dinosaur theme park on an island premise. One thing that doesn't get enough credit is the new score by John Williams. It's distinct, it captures the wilder atmosphere of Isla Sorna, it's suspenseful, even ominous at times, and overall, it's a great movie soundtrack in its own right, that mixes themes of the iconic original Jurassic Park soundtrack, while being its own distinct score for the sequel. One of John Williams' most underappreciated scores if you ask me. Number 4. It still manages to treat the dinosaurs as realistic animals. There is no shortage of movies depicting dinosaurs as killer movie monsters. Even the later Jurassic Park movies take this approach. Now, there is nothing inherently wrong with the depiction of dinosaurs being over-the-top movie monsters, but one of the things that The Lost World does that is consistent with the first film is that the dinosaurs are still treated like real animals. Sure, they caused a lot of mayhem, death, and destruction. The T-Rex is let loose in San Diego in a similar way to King Kong or the 1925 Lost World film. The Velociraptors are far more aggressive this time around, and even the herbivores get to do some damage. However, unlike some of those other cultural depictions of dinosaurs, all of this is still depicted in a naturalistic way, as these are simply just animals either thrown into a strange environment, looking for their offspring, hunting for prey, or being set free from capture before they're exploited for entertainment. What separates the dinosaurs of Jurassic Park 1 and The Lost World is that the Isla Nublar dinosaurs were raised in captivity, engineered to be tourist attractions, which explains why they felt more restrained as they were resurrected extinct animals navigating on an island in the year 1993, whereas the Isla Sorna dinosaurs are wild animals, breeding on their own and roaming free for the last 4 years without human intervention. Overall, The Lost World does a surprisingly great job of showcasing the dinosaurs in an animalistic way while still showing their destructive nature without devolving to generic movie monster territory, and are portrayed very realistically thanks to the blend of CGI and practical effects, which brings me to my next point. Number 3. An excellent blend of CGI and practical effects. The original Jurassic Park was a game changer not only filmmaking but also in special effects. It was one of the first movies to combine live-action practical effects with CGI. The result is a near seamless blend of animatronics and CGI dinosaur effects that still hold up almost 3 decades later, as the dinosaurs looked very realistic, although it's not without some dated effects. The Lost World not only uses the same techniques as the first film, it improves on it, with a more extensive use of CGI thanks to a larger budget, and with Stan Winston returning to do the audio animatronic dinosaur effects, this is where the franchise has the best and most convincing blend of CGI and practical effects. Practical effects are used when the actors need to interact with the environment, in up-close shots, or when they are being filmed in a setting that needs physicality on screen. Meanwhile, the CGI dinosaurs, as well as other things that are CG, are animated in scenes where there is more complexity in the shots filmed, in wide shots, or even in scenes that absolutely need CGI. Thanks to the hard work and talents of both Stan Winston's team and the VFX artists, The Lost World delivers on an animatronic and CGI effects level that's still great today, arguably better than the effects of the first film, as well as most movies today. One thing that doesn't get enough credit is the excellent cinematography, color grading, shot composition, just the overall visual look of the film. By far the best looking Jurassic Park movie of the original trilogy. One of the things I don't like about Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World is that they're lit in a way that looks like something you see in a Sci-Fi Channel original TV movie. The CG and practical effects aren't as convincing in the third film, and the fourth film uses a little too much CG for its own good, and at times can look overly glossy. Whereas the first two Jurassic Park movies and Fallen Kingdom actually look like professionally made big-budget blockbusters that have top-notch cinematography, color grading, and a seamless blend of CG and animatronics, resulting in some truly memorable and iconic moments. Speaking of memorable moments, Number 2. Amazing set pieces and memorable moments. Following the global success of Jurassic Park, the sequel was underway shortly after. One could say it was inevitable. Author Michael Crichton returned to write a second book, and director Steven Spielberg returned to helm the sequel to the first film, based off the novel. The result was The Lost World Jurassic Park, which had bigger set pieces, more dinosaurs, more jungle, more death and destruction. The sequel brings in some incredible and memorable moments that'll put you on the edge of your seat. Scenes like the Compy slaughtering Dieter Stark, the Velociraptors killing off survivors in the long grass, and the T-Rex in the tent scenes are straight out of a horror movie, while scenes like the game show hunting scene, the camp sabotage, and escaping the raptors are of the action/adventure genres. Even the San Diego Rampage was a pretty awesome scene, showing the Rex terrorize a city in a similar way to Godzilla, King Kong, in the 1925 Lost World film / Arthur Conan Doyle novel. The centerpiece of the movie is the trailer scene, where the Gatherers team try to heal the baby Rex injury, only for the parent T-Rex to find their offspring inside the trailer, which forces the humans to give them back the infant. After mistaking the Gatherers group responsible for injuring their infant, the Rexes come back to attack the trailers, nearly pushing them off the cliff, which causes Ian, Sarah, and Nick to hang on as the trailer slowly slides to its destruction, with Eddie Carr courageously trying to pull them up, only for him to meet a gruesome death by the T-Rex, saving Nick, Sarah, and Ian, but resulting in the death of Eddie and the destruction of all their vehicles. This is in my opinion the best scene of The Lost World Jurassic Park. It is a masterclass of not only directing, cinematography, pacing, and atmosphere, but also tension and suspense, keeping it small in scale with only 3 dinosaurs, a few vehicles, and a few characters. Helps the scene feel much more bigger and personal. The other sequels have their fair share of memorable moments and set pieces, but if you ask me, The Lost World has some of the best and most memorable moments out of the series, thanks largely to Spielberg returning to direct, and his skills as a director is shown full force in The Lost World. And number 1, the sequel that most progresses the story. Many sequels commit the ultimate sin of rehashing the plot of the first film, rather than naturally progressing the story. While it does have its fair share of repeating some plot beats of the first Jurassic Park, The Lost World does feel like a continuation of the first film. Jurassic Park 1 could be interpreted as a film about man making the greatest discovery of all time, playing God by resurrecting dinosaurs with science and the implications that arises with it, whereas The Lost World can be interpreted as a film about man taking responsibility for that discovery, and how different people try to deal with it for their own needs. The film does a good job establishing the protagonist and antagonist opposing agendas in dealing with Isla Sorna and its creatures. Team Hammond, or the Gatherers, are sent to the island to document the dinosaurs, using video and photography evidence as proof that not only dinosaurs exist, but to rally enough public support to save the animals from life and captivity. Team Ludlow, or the Engine Hunters, arrive with far more personnel, equipment, and vehicles to capture the dinosaurs and exploit them on the mainland, as Ludlow believes building Jurassic Park is better on the mainland than it is on an island. That's honestly not a bad way to continue the story and ideas of the first Jurassic Park, which is all about respecting nature and life. Though the idea of cloning dinosaurs and playing God is very dangerous, humans must now take responsibility for its creations, because if we were to treat it as just a commodity or something to exploit, it'll bring about death and destruction. Where the film doesn't quite succeed, however, is in the character department. The characters aren't bad per se, but do make stupid decisions here and there that make you less likely to care about them, not to mention the lack of character growth. The performances are mostly good, and there are some characters that do get some development. It's just harder to really sympathize with characters who do dumb decisions after another. However, Roland Timbo is by far the best character. He has a motivation and determination that makes us understand where he's coming from, but also has a likability thanks to his leadership and charisma. He commands respect in every scene he's in, despite being a hunter who's determined to get the Bull T-Rex as a prize trophy. And he does help out the protagonist and antagonist, making him the most complex and well-written character of the film. Performed well by the late Pete Postlethwaite. Despite the characters being a mixed bag, The Lost World nonetheless manages to continue the story and themes of its predecessor, while providing us with the entertaining dino mayhem we come to expect in the series, without trying to outdo what came before. Though had its production gone far better, The Lost World would have been on par, if not exceed the original Jurassic Park. Now that I've went over the 5 reasons, I'll quickly recap everything I've said. The introduction of Isla Sorna brings in not only a new island with new dinosaurs, alongside some returning ones, but a distinct tone, atmosphere, and soundtrack that differentiates The Lost World from the first film, and the other sequels, as well as cramming up the violence and a darker, more serious tone. It manages to portray the dinosaurs on a more animalistic light that is consistent with the first film, while providing enough dino carnage, without becoming a generic monster movie. The film continues with the approach of blending CGI with the practical effects, resulting in special effects that still hold up, and may arguably be better than the effects of the first film. Not to mention the filmmaking and directing is an improvement, for the most part. There is no shortage of memorable and iconic moments, though not as iconic as the first film, that have you on the edge of your seat, combining suspense, tension, even horror, with a sense of fun, excitement, and adventure. Finally, the movie does try to continue the story, ideas, and themes of the original Jurassic Park, while providing us with some good performances from the actors. Whether the characters are good or not is up to you to decide and form your own opinions on. The Lost World Jurassic Park may have its fair share of criticisms, such as the stupidity of the characters, almost no character development, some head-scratching plot holes, and at times repeating plot beats of the first film. It nonetheless succeeds at being both an entertaining dinosaur movie and a good attempt at a sequel, though still not as great as the original film. These were the 5 reasons why The Lost World Jurassic Park is the best Jurassic Park sequel. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Despite the film's flaws, The Lost World Jurassic Park is an enjoyable dinosaur movie, and a good sequel to Jurassic Park. I went from outright disliking it to appreciating and respecting it now. It's good to be back making Jurassic Park videos again, though this is possibly the final video related to Jurassic Park I'll make for the year, since I'll work on other projects. I'm sure many of you who watch my videos are fans of not only Godzilla and Kaiju, but Jurassic Park as well. Hope you guys like the content I make. In the meantime, Godzilla and Kaiju content is coming back, but that doesn't mean that for next year, there won't be any plans or ideas of what future Jurassic Park content I have in mind. Well, that is all I have for today. Feel free to comment down below what you think of The Lost World Jurassic Park, and which is your favorite or least favorite Jurassic Park sequel. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and share this video to help my channel grow. As always, life finds a way, and I'll see you guys in the next video.